And then like 4 hours later, I'm on Twitter and I see this apology note from the guy the Frosty guy, who started the whole project. And it's basically like, hey, I stole your money. The devs didn't know about it. Sorry.
No way. What?
What's up, guys? This is Fieldblazer. Welcome to the first episode of the Soldercast. So what this is it's a podcast that's going to be focused around the Solderland NFT gamified staking game. With me, I got Ghosty.
Hey guys, what's up?
I also have Vamsy.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, and you'll probably see a lot of us in the chat. We're in the chat pretty often answering a lot of people's questions, usually the same questions more than once.
Yeah, every day.
But yeah, so we're just going to kind of talk about what the game is, what the mechanics are, and just kind of go from there. So where do you guys think is a good place to start with this?
Yeah, the white paper is really important, I would say. It's so much information. I mean, like if you were to go over the white paper, it teaches you practically everything you need to know about the project. It shows you the rarity charts, like what they are. Well, it doesn't show you the rarity charts. It shows you the unique attributes that you can get on your bunny. It shows you like what the mines are, the mysteries, the raffles, the Oracle Bunny, all that. Like they did a really good job with the white paper. It's sort of creative. It shows the dev team and everything. Like I actually enjoyed reading it. It's one of the things that
and
brings some life to the
design
project.
is really cool. The design is amazing. So let's get a bit into Solderland. Like, what is Solderland? What are the bunnies? Let's explain to the people that don't know about it, because I'm pretty sure like a lot of people will hear about this project and will have questions. So like, what is Solderland? Okay, so it is a gamified staking NFT project on the Solana blockchain. The main design of the game, it's based on the bunnies, which they have to mine either Solana or the Solderland tokens or the magic carrots. We're going to get into those pretty soon, but just like an overview. There are going to be 4 races. We're not sure yet what are those the other races that will be. We know that the next one that it's upcoming in Q2 in 2022 now, they're going to be the Sol Robos. Unfortunately, they got snagged. Like the name was snatched by another NFT project, so they're probably not going to call it Sol Robos anymore.
Sucks. It was a good name.
Yeah, there was actually somewhere I read, and I can't remember where it was off the top of my head, but it talked about the other 2 factions that were going to release also. One of them was so the Sol Robos, I think, were supposed to be strictly for building, and then there was going to be a warrior
souls,
a warrior souls, and then like a religious group. or like the kings or whatnot, like a spiritual religious, the royals, and but they didn't really go into too much detail about those. I think they're further on down the line. I think they said in the white paper they're going to do the Sol Robos Q3 of this year.
Yeah, I would rather them hold some of that information back. You know what I mean? It gives us some longevity to the project. I'd rather not have everything, just thrown at us all at once. That's kind of cool having to wait to see what the other races are going to do specifically and all that.
It's kind of like a kid at Christmas, right? Like, if you know all your presents in the summer, Christmas isn't quite as exciting.
Exactly.
So let's go more. Like for all the people that will tune in and don't know about the project, make sure you check it out. It's solderland.com. You have there like the white paper and the story and the medium, pretty much anything you need to know about the game. When it comes to this game, what's really appealing and what really stirred up my interest to invest in it was the unknown factor, the mystery behind it. Like the only phrase that was in my mind was that on this map, on the Solderland map, because it's like a planet, no? So it's a map basically, and on this map there's a hidden message somewhere, somehow. We need to find it, and that was like so intriguing. Like it's like a puzzle, it keeps you brainstorming all the time, like what it could be. For me, for this project, like that's why the only reason I got into this project is because of this unknown factor,
like the treasure hunt aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly.
What I like about it is that it you're most likely not going to be successful unless you're interacting with other people. And that's what brought me into the project. That's what I really liked about it, because it wasn't your run of the mill video game. You see the gamified staking, you load up the demo, you get on the map, and it's just, okay, I picked this mine, I signed this bunny. What's so difficult about this? But then as you start to play the demo, you start to realize, this mine that I just mined in for 12 hours only hit 5% efficiency. There were, 8 Solana in this mine, but I only got 0.001 because there was nobody else in this mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's part of the aspect of the game, right? You have to work together to figure out which mines to go in, because the mines have a set reward inside the mines, which you don't know beforehand. The mines have a set capacity inside the mines for how many people it can hold, and you don't know that beforehand either. And they can be under capacity, and if they're under capacity, you're not going to reap all the rewards in that mine. And if they're over capacity, I think, like you said earlier, the rewards are going to be split so many ways that you'd have been better off going into a mine with 80%.
Well, it's obvious they based it like on reality, like more mouths to feed, It's like
exactly.
We have only one bread and it's 100 of us. So of course we're going to get a crumble each.
And in the demo, everyone had the same stats, so all the things were split evenly amongst everybody, and it won't be the same for when the game comes out.
More or less, like depending. The demo was depending on when you joined. I joined the second day that they launched, I think.
Because your power goes up daily. Yeah. By 1%, right?
This is another interesting aspect. Because power increases by every staking period. So for every 24 hours, that power increases. So those who joined later on the demo, like after 2 weeks, were a little bit behind. And from what I could see, there is a significant change into the weight that you apply on the blockchain, because that's what basically this is. The SL power represents the weight that you have on the blockchain. So imagine the bunny having a bag, and the bag is as big as your SL power. The more SL power you have, the bigger the bag, so the more resources you can fit in. And it's actually increasing the reward output pretty fast. Like from what I calculated, from what I've observed, since the demo, it was increasing with for every 20 SL power that was increased, the amount of Solana, let's say, because it was harder to calculate the tokens and the magic carrots, but for the Solanas, like you started with 40 SL power, right? And for 40 SL power, you were always mining 0.02 Solanas. But then once I got to 60 SL power, I was already mining 0.03. So from 60 to 80, I was mining 0.03. From 60
40 to 60.
40 to 60, yeah. And from 60 to 100, I was already mining 0.04 if the capacity was full. Like if it was the efficiency of the mine was full, like 100%, I was already mining 0.04. Now you can only imagine later when the game comes out by how much it would increase. Because
you're talking about like
this is demo money, not even games money.
Well, when you're mining with an 80 SP bunny equipped, essentially, and we got bunnies that are SP
175,
175, and people got 6 or 7 of them, and then so I'm anxious to see how the rewards are going to play out. And I think it's going to be like a Mad Max scenario when the game first launches, especially with having all these new people who have never played, everybody's just going to be trying to figure out how to do it. So you're going to have this group of people who played the demo who already kind of have an idea, and they're going to be trying to, cull the herd and get everybody together and no, this is how we need to go here. But then you're also going to have those people who think they know everything about the game without knowing anything about the game. And they're going to be, pushing back, and, they're going to pull a portion of people with them. So yeah, I think it's going to take, probably a month at least after the game is released before the dust kind of settles, because there's a lot of things that we don't even know about. All we saw was one little piece of the map, up to 10 mines that move every day. That's another thing. The mines are active only during certain times. So I think it was like 10 p.m. UTC, the mines would open.
Yeah, they would be available for 12 hours, because at first they were available for like 4 hours, but then they decided to extend that period because of different time zones, and people from all around the world were joining in, and it was kind of hard for some to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and assign the monies.
Yeah, so everybody assigns within that 12-hour period. Obviously, if you assign earlier rather than later, you're going to
get
reap
more
rewards.
Yeah.
But then once the mines close, you also have a set amount of time to claim your rewards. Your rewards don't just hang out for you to grab, just like in real life. You leave your stuff hanging around, somebody's going to come by and take it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if you don't claim your rewards, I think it was between like, what was it, 6 p.m. UTC and 10 p.m. UTC? I can't remember exactly.
It was a
4-hour period before opening the new mines.
Yeah, and then they go back to the mines. And so that kind of goes back to another question I was seeing. And that's really, whenever the interaction, the community really picks up, that hour before the mines open, you see everybody jumping in the chat. Hey, where are we going, boys? Almost like the Fortnite mine. Where are we dropping? It's like, what's the vote? Where's the vote? Where are we going? Who's in what mine? Which one has Solderland token? And where were the Solderland tokens at yesterday? And another fun aspect of it is the mines are constantly moving. They're not in the same place that they were the day before. And so you have to kind of track them down.
And the rewards are also random. So the same mine is not going to have the same rewards. Like if you have like the big hole or the bunny ears or the hidden dust, like all these names, the second day you would go, some people would go to the same mine because they knew it had Solana the previous day, but then they
get nothing.
Find out that it wasn't actually Solana, it was Solderland tokens and magic carrots.
Did we ever figure out how the capacity is calculated? Is it the amount or the power? Did we ever figure that out? Like, get a clear answer on that?
Like how many people can be in the mine?
No, like, so how many, because how 100% capacity is 100% capacity. Was that based on the amount of bunnies who are in it or the power?
The reward was standard, but the capacity in the demo, I believe, was a set value. I don't think the capacity in the demo fluctuated, but the white paper says that when the game starts, the capacity on the mines will be set by a 7-day weighted value or a 7-day weighted average. So it'll take whatever the mine capacity was in that particular mine over the last 7 days, and it'll recalculate what the capacity is going to be for that day.
But that wouldn't add up, right? But that wouldn't add up because you can have in the mine, like for example, 300 SP power bunnies, right? You can send just, let's say, legendaries or high ranked bunnies in that mine. So you send them for 7 days. Let's assume, right? You send them to the same mines for the 7 days, but then that would mean you would fit like 500 common bunnies in it after 7 days.
Yeah, but I don't think it's ranked. I'm under the impression it's not about the capacity of the mine isn't ranked on SP or SL power. It's ranked on how many bodies are actually in that mine.
Exactly. Yeah.
I guess
that's what I'm thinking. Then. That's what I'm thinking. Like if it's based on the amount of bunnies that actually go in, like it's easy to calculate.
That makes sense.
Track and keep.
Because it would be very hard if multiple different bunnies with multiple different powers were trying to, every single day they would go in a different mine. So the mine
the SL power
be so hard to calculate.
The SL power would just be the representation of how much of that loot you get in comparison to the other SL power in that mine.
So like for example, if you have, let's say, 500 SL power and someone has 100 SL power, of course he's going to get less because like I said, it represents the basically the size of the bag that you can take to the mine and bring back the resources in. So the calculation of the capacity wouldn't add up if it would be based on
The
SP power.
Yeah.
Because imagine the other way. Like, you have only common bunnies, right? 40 SP power. You have only common bunnies for 7 days. That weighted average, let's say, it's going to be 500, 1000. Doesn't really matter. But then it would mean that if you put 5 legendaries there, or 5 high ranked bunnies with 300 SP power, they're just going to fill the mine instantly.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. So it definitely is a capacity based on the number of bunnies. Now, it's hard to know if it varies on this 7-day period, or if it's a fixed amount.
Yeah. I guess that's something we're all gonna have to figure out together, right? It's just a part of the game. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, of course.
It's all learning experience.
This is the best thing. Like, you have to constantly find out things about the game. It's like you never know everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Something I haven't talked to you guys about when we were talking about rug pulls. I was actually involved in a rug pull not too long ago. Yeah, so the Frosties NFT. I don't know if you guys heard about that one.
No,
a while back. It was the second one I got involved in, and everything looked really legit with it, except for a couple red flags that I overlooked because the way the other things were so appealing. You know, that they had 30,000 people in their Discord channel. The team was really active. They had some videos set up of what was going on. They had a decent looking roadmap. It was going to be games involved, and then they did the mint. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here for the mint, and I was really upset because for like a week straight, I was planning, hey, how am I going to get this minted? You know, I got to have this much in my wallet, and I had it all set up, and then circumstances just worked out to where I wasn't able to be here for the mint. But I got home maybe 30 minutes after the mint, and so like with the FUD kicking in, or the FOMO rather, the FOMO was kicking in, and so I was like, man, I got to get on OpenSea and buy some. I saw on the blockchain at one point for that particular mint, somebody paid like $4,000 in gas prices.
My God, that's just insane.
I bought secondary market, and then like 4 hours later, I'm on Twitter and I see this apology note from the Frosty guy, who started the whole project. And it's basically like, hey, I stole your money. The devs didn't know about it. Sorry.
No way. What?
Yeah, that's dude. Like that was pretty much it. And like people went nuts about it. And it was like 1.1 mil, I think, is what he jacked. And the devs didn't even know about it. Like they ended up we created a whole nother community within the Frosty community. We actually revived the project, which was something that was crazy in itself. There was a lot of people outside of the project that were willing to help us. So we were able to get the metadata. We were able to create a way to rewrap those NFTs in a new contract so that the royalties wouldn't go back to the guy who, rug pulled everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the devs only got like 1 Ether a piece. Like they were like somebody was able to pull up the blockchain transactions from the guy who did the rug, and he basically sent everybody that was helping him create the project 1 Ether.
Oh my God.
Ran off with the rest of it. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I had a lot of hesitation, that was fresh on my mind going into this. And this project was a little bit different than the way the other NFTs do things. The other NFTs, whenever they're launching, they have a roadmap, right? And then they're really pushing, they're telling you everything they're gonna do. They don't have a lot to offer in the beginning, and they're just like, you pay us your
just
money.
Promises.
You pay us your money and we'll give you this and we'll give you that and we'll give you that. And it's usually the same thing, right? Access to a party, we'll donate some money to we're gonna have merch, and you'll get exclusive access to who knows. But this was the reason I had hesitancy at first with this was because they weren't talking a whole lot about what they were doing.
Yeah, I agree. Like they weren't very, let's say, they didn't talk about their history or stuff like that.
Right. Well, they didn't talk a lot about the history. The game required you to figure out how to play, right? Like they didn't have an instruction manual about, you do this, you select this mine, you assign this bunny. Like they would tell you if you asked about it, but most of actual gameplay happens in real life. It doesn't happen on the UI. That's one of the most common questions we get in the chat, right? People coming in and saying, hey, what's the game like? you know, what is the gameplay like? Well, I mean,
it's like real life.
Yeah, like it's really like nothing.
Send it to the mines. That's it. At least that's what the demo
like
is. But
imagine going in a mine, grabbing a bag and a pickaxe, mining some tokens or Solanas or magic carrots, putting them in the bag and bringing them up to the surface.
And then doing it all over again.
Just like that.
Yeah, but it's all in your head though.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't actually see that stuff happening.
Yeah.
The actual gameplay is the interaction between people in the chat, interaction between people in the community. You have to figure out, you know.
Eventually, I'm sure they'll add more. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more interactive type things with our bunnies. I mean, especially whenever. Who knows how long it's going to take, but for all this metaverse stuff that take place and the 3D bunnies and all that, that's got to be something that, you know, that'll be much more interactive.
The thing is that in their story, they say that they talk about this interaction between, you know, the people or humans, because, you know, there's a problem in the future with the resources and the scarcity, and they're looking for another way, and they reach the Solderland planet, and they can see there are a lot of bunnies. Amongst the bunnies, there are a few other races, a lot of unknowns in that planet, you know, and they're trying to figure out how to, you know, save humanity, and they're appealing to the bunnies, and the bunnies agreed to collaborate with the people in order to save humanity. So it's like they explain this interaction between us, like behind the screen, and the bunny inside the game, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's genius, and the way they design it, like everything to be unknown, and you have to discover everything for yourself.
Yeah, like a true game.
It's like it's keeping you all the time in standby, and you're like, what should I do now? Like, where should I go? Like, what mine should I pick? Like, it's crazy.
Or how many people are in this mine? You know, like it's constantly. And what I like about it is the gameplay, almost like the unknown factor, almost flows out of the game into trying to find out about the game.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of people,
so much stuff. Like it promotes people making YouTube videos about it to show the secrets. It promotes things like this, like a podcast just about it. It's just so.
Well, there's a lot that's going to need to be talked about, because you see the questions in the chat. You know, it's the same ones every day, to the point that, you know, I have a Word document with the answers.
Copy paste.
You know, it's not even worth my time to talk about.
I actually did do that once. Not a Word document, but someone was just asking the same. So I copy pasted the same thing like 10 times in like 10 minutes, dude.
Well, I think part of that too is because they're only going to one place to get the information, and that's kind of what I was getting at with the, you know, the problem solving and the unknown coming out of the game. So like you hear a lot of people talk about, oh, just read the roadmap. Okay, well, there's also the white paper, and then there's the storyline on the website, and all three of those have valuable information that one of the others may not have. And if you don't, you know, follow what's going on with the project everywhere that they have the information, then you're not going to have the full picture of what's going on. And I don't even know that anybody does at this point, unless you're in with the team, because that's one thing they do really well, is keeping you on the edge for what's coming next.
Yeah, always.
100%.
Always. Like they just don't want to disclose anything. But if you ask them, like they give you confirmations. Let's say, like if you just, let's say, like how I discovered that there's how the efficiency is calculated. Well, I didn't really find out the algorithm that they use, but I did nail like the number of bunnies that were in that mine at that time, you know. And it's pretty hard to calculate it, but at first it was easy because there were not so many of us. There were a few of us, you know, like I don't know, 1,000, let's say, players.
Yeah, I think at the time we were doing the configurations, there were 1,000 miners.
Yeah, and it was easy to calculate it. But imagine, like now there are over 3,000 and a half holders, I think.
Yeah, I think 3.2K.
Yeah, so we're expecting some numbers when the game launches on 15th.
Who knows how it's going to be, really? Like, who knows how much spam is going to be in it? It's going to take a lot of communication, a lot of like collaboration, just to see.
I think at this point it's going to be really, really hard for us to coordinate with 23K people in the chat.
But eventually, you gotta think, like, when clans come into play and people who have their own private chats, they would just talk amongst themselves to figure out where they would go. And I don't know how well that would work at the start, but eventually it might it might be impossible really to just all talk in general chat and be like, all right, everybody, let's go here. Unless they like mute the chat, put a vote, and have everyone vote for like an hour. But I doubt that would ever happen. You know what I mean? But it's going to be hard. It's going to be fun, but it'll be hard.
I mean, it worked with the votes at some point. Like Odin, Odin took this task upon his hands, and he was the voting guy. Like he was every single night he was coming and voting on the chat, posting the votes, and we were voting, and we actually increased the efficiency that time. Like we had a few mines that were 100% capacity and the others like 90, 89. So it kind of works in some way, but it's going to get even harder because there are too many people now.
At that point, we all had similar powers too, and the same bunnies. So it's like lucky chance.
Yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot of variables because we all had the same attributes for the most part. The only difference would be when you started playing the demo, you might have a different SL power. And I guess this would be a good point, or a good place to start talking about, some of the specific aspects of the demo that in relation to the questions that we get a lot. We get a lot of people worried about the SP value of their bunnies. I can't tell you. There was one guy, I can't remember what his name was. He was active in the demo. He had a lot of legitimate good questions. I like the guy. But then as soon as the rankings came out, the official rankings on how rare dot is, dude, he got really upset because he had 4 bunnies that had low SP. And he was worried that they weren't going to be able to compete with the bunnies. Say you have like a 60 SP bunny, and then you have somebody who has 3 or 4 175s, and you couldn't explain to him that, dude, this is just what we know about the game. Like there's going to be, the SP is just a factor that goes into the individual bunny's power. Now in the demo, I don't know if they're going to keep it this way. I have a feeling they will, but from what I understand from playing the demo, the overall power of your total mining capability is the SL, not the SP.
Yeah.
And the SL would be calculated by SP power of your bunnies times the number of bunnies you have mining up to 10 bunnies per wallet. And then that's multiplied by the number of days, the total you've been mining, because they give you 1% every 24 hours on your total SL power. And then your SL power is going to be, so if you think about all the rewards in the mine as a pie, your SL power is going to be what size or how big the piece of that pie is going to be for you in relation to the other people in that mine. And so since we don't have anymore in the demo where we all had specific assigned values and there's so many different variables now, it's going to make it a really difficult job to try to calculate, what you're going to receive in that mine. And that's another really common question we get a lot is, how much soul am I going to make a day?
Yeah, everyone always asks that.
And I think that goes back to the people who are hung up on the wrong idea of the game, right? Like there's people who get into the gamified staking and the only thing they have on their mind is, I want to stake this rabbit and I want as much soul as possible.
Yeah.
And they're not looking at the long-term value that this game could actually bring because, Solderland token is going to be listed on an exchange at some point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a marketable token. And who knows what the value of that will be, especially with the success of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. And it could be, I don't know how much tokens you guys got from the demo, but I got around 200. And if everyone was worth even a $50, that's $100. A more general question, just to kind of like focus things in a little bit. How do you guys feel about the art of the project? Because I know like that's like the first thing you see when you look at an NFT, right? How do you feel about the art of these bunnies? Like when you first saw them, what was your impression?
I liked it because it wasn't your run of the mill. I mean, there's people that are doing similar things, but then they're naming them under a recycled convention, right? So you have like Bored Llama,
Angry,
Farm
blah,
Club,
blah, blah.
Or whatever, and they're copying the expressions and that kind of thing. It's with any NFT, you're gonna have some resemblance to the others because that's, especially with the artwork right now in the community, it's one base character with changing attributes. But what I liked about it was that, okay, it's a unique looking rabbit. First of all, it's a rabbit, but it's a unique looking rabbit. I like what they're doing with it. They have some pretty unique attributes, and the name doesn't try to copy off of something else that was going on. Solderland is something that
they have created.
Yeah, and I would never have just written out the word Solderland. You know what I mean? Like I would never think to. It intrigues me. What is a Solderland? And so that kind of brought me into it. So then that kind of leads you into reading about the story, and then you get to see the artwork from the map. But I like the way that they kept things really simple.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also nice to look at the color schemes. The way they arrange the map. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the best artwork that I've seen out of any NFT project, but I'm highly satisfied.
Yeah,
I really considering like the utility.
I just like the overall like vibe, I guess you could say. But like everybody has not something super similar, but at the same time, it's a little bit similar. Like we all have that same bunny ears, same stature, but like everyone has like their different face, their different earring, their different shirt, glasses, color, all that. I think it like. As far as something simple can go, they did the best at that, if that makes sense. Like they did the best at making a simple NFT, if you ask me. Because I've seen some really like boring simple, like just like really boring things, like with the change of like just a hat. And this is like, it takes a little step forward, I guess. I just like the creativeness of it all.
They have a lot of variety in it.
Yeah.
Well,
especially
to me,
the legendary bunnies.
Yeah,
I love those. I think those are really funny.
They are amazing, and they're handmade, like hand drawn.
Yeah.
The rest are all algorithm based generated, but the 30 legendaries are all hand drawn. So it's kind of nice.
Appreciate that.
It's a good effort.
Speaking on the legendary and bunny aspects, kind of brings up another question that was a hot point of contention shortly after the game, or not the game launch, but shortly after the minting happened. The team, like we said, they don't let everything out right away. And sometimes that can be a fault. Like, for instance, not being so active in the community that every single person that comes in can see what's announced. And so, they told everybody from the beginning. So I can remember in the demo, them announcing that do not sell your bunnies. Do not go off the rankings. They're not complete yet. We're not ready to put this information out. We want to make it balanced for everybody. And then, of course, first day right away after mint, Rarity has the rankings listed.
Yeah.
And so
they didn't have the approval of
I know. How does that
developers.
Even happen? I don't even get that. Like that, so many things went wrong, and not went wrong, but so many people did things without the permission, like Solsi having their unverified bunnies. Like,
so
random stuff happening.
So that was a whole nother issue. I think now, and I could be wrong about this. This is just an assumption. I think Rarity's program works off of an algorithm that detects the number of attributes in a particular character, and then calculates, how many there are, and then bases the rarity off of how many are available. And I think I don't know if they have to apply for that project or if they just pull the data straight from Soulsea and
Magic Eden
and Magic Eden, or if the project actually has to give them permission. I'm not really sure. I would assume it's automatic as fast as they got that information. But they still told us, maybe not every 5 minutes of the day, but do not sell your bunnies. You don't want to make decisions based off of what is currently out there.
Yeah.
And people did it anyway. They thought they knew what was going on. They went ahead and did all this, and then a few days later,
burned.
Yeah, a lot of people got burned, including myself. There was a couple moves that I made because I got caught up in the peer pressure and the bandwagon ideology. I'm like, oh, well, this bunny does look pretty sick and it does have a legendary title. Surely, it's going to have a high SP.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, the day of, the Black Friday, the day of darkness, they released the actual rankings with how rare dot is. And, people went nuts about it. I spent this much money on this bunny and now you're changing the rankings and blah, blah, blah. But they never changed the rankings.
Yeah,
the rankings were never set to begin with. And so Rarity posted that information without having the approval. Now, the one thing I can see people getting upset about is because the team did say the day before the rankings changed that Rarity was going to be the partner. But that was before they knew that Rarity was going to refuse to change the rankings in their system.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel like they only went with Rarity to partner with because Rarity already had everything posted up. And they were probably thinking, hey, we'll just work with them and give them the actual rankings, and it'll just be a smooth transition. And then for whatever reason, Rarity was like, I'm not changing it,
Yeah.
And so whenever they swapped over, it kind of brings me to another point about the rankings and the status of the bunnies. I really like that, some of the more common looking bunnies have high SP.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like the white rabbits, for instance, that one guy, and he's probably tying a noose up as we speak. He sold that 0.8
oh
rank
my God,
rabbit like minutes before the floor took off.
That's insane.
He just waited like 10 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We probably could have sold it for 20, and he literally sold it for 0.8 sold.
I actually almost sold. So when it first came out, when it dropped, I looked at the bunnies I had, and I was like, oh, this one can't be worth anything. I was totally convinced that it was lame, because I looked at the rarity charts they had on in the Discord, like the ones where they showed like what attributes are rare, and I had like the least rare ones. Like the bunny was brown, which was the least rare color. And when I went on Rarity, I think it said out of the collection I was around like 4,500. So I was like, all right, this one has to go. And I was listing it, and then the next day, I took it off so quickly. It's actually my highest ranked bunny. Like it's the most rare one I have. And I was like, how? I was so confused. Like I was so ready to sell it, but I guess I'm happy I didn't. But I almost did fall for that too. I almost did make a big mistake right there.
Yeah, I was able to scoop up like 3 175s the same day that they released the ranking charts on how rare.is or how rare.is, however you'd like to say it. And like I think the most I paid that day for a 175 bunny was like 1.8.
Jeez, that's a steal.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I got 3 of them. Yeah, and I got 3 of them.
That's insane. When you think about the legendary ones,
you gotta hook me up with one. I feel like I'm so unlucky, bro. Like I didn't get to mint anything.
That's the reason. Yeah, I didn't even want to try anymore, because I know that I felt like if I even tried testing my luck and buying anything, I was just gonna get a common. Because I swear my luck is so bad with anything random number based. You know what I mean? Like randomly generated. That's the thing about NFTs. Like it's all random, so it's just like my luck in this area is horrible. It's just total dog.
So anyway, I wanted to express my opinion about the art, because you guys did, I didn't. So my turn.
Yeah.
So me being an artist myself, I used to draw a lot when I was a kid, and I worked a little bit with logos and banners for a while. And I'll also dance. I was a professional dancer, so I'm an artist fully, like from top to bottom, And to me, art is art. Like you cannot say that some art is bad or some art is good. But what I do like about this art is that it's unique. Like the design is unique. They came out on the market with something that wasn't there. Like
it was original.
Yeah, exactly. It was original. You didn't have bunnies, or maybe I didn't see any, but I'm pretty sure if there aren't many. But you have apes all the way. You have 8 bits all the way. You have and all these other stuff that just keeps repeating, And then you see something out of the ordinary, and it just flips, Like and I do appreciate that they did the 30 handmade. Like I appreciate the effort. Like, I know from an artist point of view, like anyone could make a collection of NFTs, like just run an algorithm to generate them, put some attributes and randomize it. But you gotta appreciate the effort and the uniqueness of it, like the originality. Like they came with something new, and that's what intrigued me the most at the art. But to me, art is art. Like I believe every single piece of art is depending on its creator. It can be valuable. I mean, you see people selling shit basically.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I think one thing
it's still bought. Like,
yeah, it is crazy. It's like beauty is in the eye of the beholders. But I think one thing that like really, like, I don't want to say I'm an artist. I painted before, but I'm shit at it. But like when I think of art and famous art, there's always a story behind it. Like there's always something. It's not just the famous artist or whatever. He didn't just go up and paint. You know what I mean? Like he thought of something. There's a story behind it.
Yeah, there's an inspiration behind it.
This specifically has like deep inspiration, considering that they have a white paper, a roadmap, a website with a story. I mean, it's not just art anymore. It's a story tied to the
working demo before the mint even happened. Like what other NFT projects are doing that? There may be some out there.
And with rewards, huh? And with rewards.
Yeah, real rewards. So that was just a demo.
And I was skeptical. That was really what cemented the whole thing for me, because you can ask Apollo. Occasionally, Apollo was asking me the whole time through the demo, dude, how many bunnies are you gonna mint? How many bunnies are you gonna mint? I'm like, and at first I was like, dude, I'm gonna try to mint all 10. I'm gonna try to mint 10 straight. And then, time would go by and I would spend some time, and I was still having that, that PTSD from getting rugged in that previous project. And so, I would start to be like, well, the devs aren't talking as much. And, there's a couple little things here that's, maybe it's just me, but it seems a little off. And you're like, how many bunnies are you going to mint? So like on Monday, I'm like, I'm minting 10. And then on Tuesday, I'm like, I think I'm just going to mint 3, and then we'll see how it goes. And, so I kept going back and forth on it, but then I had to keep grounding myself in, okay, they obviously put some work into it. They have the demo pre-mint. And so we went through the demo process. And then the next ceiling factor for me was, okay, they promised us to pay the demo players the rewards. And I guess that was one of the things that was nagging me in the back of my mind was, okay, the demo is just on a test net, and they're just telling us they're going to pay us these rewards once they switch over to the main net. And I guess we'll see, right? So the demo ended. And then sure enough, Sol ended up in my wallet. And I was just like, okay, anybody who's going to rug somebody isn't going to be rugging. And then the thing that was really just like 100% for me was the fact that, and now I wasn't involved with this, so I mean, it didn't affect me directly, but the people, and once again, they told them, do not mint on any other website, do not buy from any other website but Magic Eden and Solana. And then you still had these people, knowingly or unknowingly, going out to SolSea and buying NFTs for Solderland on SolSea and getting ripped off because they weren't official. And then the team just voluntarily decided, okay, we know we told you this, you did it anyway, but we're still going to refund you.
Yeah, literally. I mean, that's great.
And we need to let them know. For those who are tuning in and would like to get into it, Magic Eden and Solana, the only official markets. Do not buy from anywhere else. Disclaimer.
Yeah. So like, I mean, you're right. You mentioned earlier. Yeah, Vamsy mentioned earlier about the whole thing with the SolSea, and I don't understand all the details about it, but from what I understand, when they were getting ready to do the launch pad the day of, somehow some of the data that was being uploaded to Magic Eden was leaked out, and I could be off on how I'm explaining this, but this is just how I understood it to happen. Some of the data was leaked out and somebody was able to retrieve that data for some of those bunnies. And then they took those bunnies and posted them, and they became or appeared to be verified because it was actual information that was being uploaded to Magic Eden at the time. I think they're referring to it as Candy Machine. There was an issue with the Candy Machine. And that's how they were able to get those bunnies to be what looked to be verified and selling them on SolSea. And I don't know if that's a super common thing. If that happens, this is actually my first Sol NFT project that I've been a part of.
Same here.
So I wasn't really sure if, that kind of bugged me a little bit. I was like, oh, is this a common thing with Magic Eden? Do they have a lot of problems? I mean, the site does seem to bug up pretty often, but so far, everything has been a great experience.
Yeah, and hopefully it will improve with time. We talk about the art. We talk about the mines and the map. So the map that we experienced in the demo is like just a small portion of the map. We're expecting a lot bigger one.
Yeah. They've already leaked some stuff, like the Draco collaboration with the lava map, I guess, or the fire.
No, wait. No, wait. So they leaked only the island. The island that is part of the Solderland. that island that they posted. We'll get into the fire one shortly, but we need to talk about. We talked about the mines. We know that there's only a portion of the map at first, and we need to work together to discover the other lands, like the fog, to clear up the fog. What I would also like to talk about, and this was interesting because we had it in the demo as well, because they're planning to partner with lots of different projects on Solana, which are promising and which are legit. Let's say, hopefully.
Yeah, so that's actually like a whole nother part that people miss out on as far as the utility of this project. So it has the gamified staking, but then the lesser known is the fact that it's also doubling as advertising and marketing for other NFT projects. So all these people who are getting these rabbits and flipping them on the market and trying to move on to the next NFT, dude, you could possibly be winning that NFT if you keep your rabbit and play the game.
There's whitelist raffles, there's literal NFT raffles. I don't know. I feel like people just need to pay attention a little bit longer, instead of buying into the hype of just an NFT as a quick, buy and flip, because this project is great.
They mentioned multiple times that their DM box is full. They've said since the demo, like constantly messaging us saying, "Hey, can we advertise on your project?" And they're just waiting for the gates to open. You know what I mean? They're just waiting for this game to launch. And I think once it does, it slowly but surely it's going to be a major player in the NFT community.
Yeah, well, this is the fun stuff that they try to make it as a launch pad. They try to integrate other projects under the form of raffle missions, right? So this is another aspect of the game. You don't have only mining, you have raffle missions. So those raffle missions are unique according to the process, and they come up with designs based on that project. Like, for example, we had the Illuminati Tower for the Illuminati project, right? Like that design was out of Solderland, but integrated in it, like it was something unique. And then we had the Bravies, and further on we're gonna have the Dracos.
We had the foxes too. I don't remember what they were. I just remember they were like some
I don't remember the foxes, honestly. I don't remember the foxes.
I think I remember hearing about them, but I definitely didn't join any.
I don't think I joined. I don't think I joined the raffle.
I jumped in the server and I was like, no.
I think I went into
the Illuminati one.
Yeah,
that's what I did. Illuminati.
The first one that came out, because there were two. So the first one that came out, I placed both of my bunnies. But then on the second one, I only placed one. I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go for some Solderland tokens and magic carrots.
Yeah, one of the guys that I actually met first in this server, I think his name is Dulex, Dulex. He won one of the Illuminati ones. I was like, that's crazy. One of the guys that I've met, because I feel like whenever I see giveaways, it's always just random names. But someone that I didn't know him, but I've known of him. Actually,
you spoke with him in the server. And all that, and then,
it's just pretty cool to see.
What I also like is they post the blockchain transaction to prove that hey, we did send this out. Like, this is a legitimate thing.
Any server that does that is just always great.
So I love the just levels bolsters the confidence.
Like they actually take the extra step to prove to us that they are legit. You know what I mean? Like every action they take, just from the demo to what you just said, like proving the transactions, it's all just for us, really, because they don't have to do it.
And everything about them just seems so authentic. Any other NFT project you get in, everybody seems like a salesman. They're in there, hey guys, we hype about the project. LFG, let's fucking go. It's just constantly just over and over. They might as well be a bot. And these guys, maybe they're not here every 5 minutes, but when you're dealing with a legitimate project on a scale of what I think this might be, you've got a lot of work to do. Like, you don't have time to be inside of the chat room 24/7 trying to hype people up about something, especially if you know what you have is going to hype up in itself. You release it.
It was fun because I don't know if they planned this from the beginning, but I think they knew that they weren't going to have time. So they thought about a way on how to unite the community so they could just help each other when they're away, when they're working on the project or on the game, we as the community were helping out other members. We were answering questions, we were explaining how the game goes, what should we do, and stuff like that. So I don't know if the game is made by a genius, let's say. But everyone contributed. I'm pretty sure it's not one man's
just
credit.
One person.
Yeah,
it's very well thought out though.
Yeah, I'm thinking they seen everything before it happened. They expect it to turn out in a certain way. And funny thing about expectations, we didn't expect anything, bro. Every single time when they were ready to announce something or they were ready to publish some information about the game, we were thinking oh, it has to be this way, it can't be any other way. And then they would just come up with some crazy idea that we wouldn't even think about it.
So speaking on that, so crazy ideas, let's speculate for a second. So they're talking about that one thing they've really emphasized throughout, even back in the demo, was do not worry about the rank of your rabbit, or do not worry about this or that in comparison to other people. There will be ways to equalize regardless of your situation. There will be different routes to increase SL, whatever. So there, with the Solderland tokens and the magic carrots, we know that 1,000 tokens and 10 magic carrots will mint you your 3D bunny. And what's neat is, in the storyline on the website, it talks about how out of the 4 factions that live on that planet, the bunnies are the only ones that can leave the planet. So that kind of makes me think that they will be the only ones that will be able to take into metaverses outside of the game. But I also wonder, because they talk about in-game items that you'll be able to get, do you think there will be things like maybe a pickaxe or a jackhammer or, something like that that you'd be able to purchase and increase your SL power?
Definitely.
I didn't think about that. Do you think you would purchase that with
token, right?
Sorry. Solderland tokens. Yeah, that's a great thought, actually. I didn't even consider that.
So that's why I was from the beginning in the demo, everyone was trying to hunt Solana, the Solana mines, and I was trying to explain from the beginning, it's not important to mine Solana. It's important to mine magic carrots and Solderland tokens. Why? Because Solderland token is the only currency in game. Everything you want to do in the game, you need Solderland tokens.
Yeah.
So it has so much utility, and we're thinking about buying land, constructions, building on the land, buying defenses, buying offensive items, defensive items, making the bunny 3D, participating in raffle missions, hidden missions. Everything will require Solana tokens.
Everything, even including earning more soul. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Solderland tokens.
Those are the key. These are the keys to the game. We must mine as much as possible. And another thing about Solderland tokens, because of the high utility that it has, there are only 30 million. The supply is only 30 million. So you can imagine, you're always have to think, is it safe to spend the Solderland tokens on something rather than something else? So you need to not take rash decisions. You need to constantly analyze what are your options and which one would be the best in order not to, run out of Solderland tokens, because at some point it's 30 million. It's going to run out. So then,
which is crazy to think about.
Then you'll have a new feature that will require Solderland tokens, and you won't be able to get them anymore because they're out. So it's pretty interesting, and for this reason, I think the Solderland tokens will have a huge value. I'm not the one to make estimations or something like that, but I'm seeing a 10-to-1 ratio to Solana, actually.
Yeah, I could get on that. I mean, eventually, I'm sure it's going to be everything. I'm sure in order to start a clan, you're even going to need a certain amount of tokens to start that clan. If you want, everything is just going to require it. So it's going to be huge. Yeah. And the more people who are using it, the more people who are trading with it, the value will just naturally increase because its utility in Solderland will increase.
Yeah, who even knows what we'll be able to do just amongst each other that's not even specifically game related, right? I'm really excited for what's to come on the project, and this is just the first episode, and we haven't even touched probably a tenth of what this game has to offer. And saying that, maybe we should save some of the rest of our talking points for an episode later on. Maybe we should, I don't want to give out all our secrets.
No, I agree. Like,
we got a lot more to talk about.
Let's offer our people who tune in the same experience that we have. I think it's been the thing that caught us, for the project, the whole thing of the mystery and the unknown, and I can't wait to see what happens next or what they release next or stuff like that. So I think it's a good way to keep our people entertained with this method that the devs use on us.
Okay, so let's drop a couple little sneak peeks then. So what is SOG? Maybe we can start trying to figure out what SOG is. I mean, I keep hearing about this SOG.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
what is SOG?
I mean, a lot of people that were playing the demo, and pretty constant people, active people, and the ones that are truly devoted to the project and are all in.
That's too much.
Yeah, they keep talking about. They keep talking about this SOG, and we got to figure out what it is. I want
definitely got to figure out what SOG is. Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, one, what is SOG? Two, this is just one of a couple projects that we have that we're working on. This is just the first episode. We have some other things planned, depending on how well this podcast is received. Yeah. Maybe some giveaways. Maybe we know somebody in SOG that could possibly give away a spot.
Yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, that could be interesting. We need to check it out.
Take part of some of the potential biggest clans in Solderland.
Right, yeah, and then unfortunately, Odin was having technical difficulties and he couldn't get on. But including Odin, there's several more of us that are working behind the scenes. Just because they're not on the podcast doesn't mean they're not contributing to the project. That we have a small community that we're trying to build, and so we have a lot of things in works outside of what the Solderland team is doing that we want to bring to the community, not necessarily for our benefit, but for the community's benefit. And so, we're really excited about what's going on. We hope you guys enjoyed this first episode, and there's going to be more to come. So tune in. We're going to try to do once a week.
Can't wait.
Maybe we won't be able to hit everyone, one every week. Not because there's not material, but
people's timings.
Yeah, timings, and I think, what time is it for you right now, Ghosty?
Wow, it's almost 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. for you, and it's like 5 o'clock for me.
Yeah, it's like about 7 for me. It's great. In the middle of my day. If you guys have any questions, you definitely got to drop them in. We're willing to answer anything, really.
You can find us.
You guys know who we are. Yeah, we're constantly in the chat. I think that's what Ghosty was about to say.
We want to be as interactive as possible, really.
Make sure you check the website, solderland.com. You have the Discord there. Join the Discord channel, and if you have any questions, just pop them there. There's a handful of people that will answer to everything that we know. For example, we don't know everything, but we know most of the things. And remember, if you want to buy a bunny, just Magic Eden and Solana. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, don't lose your money. Don't be that guy.
I think that's a good way to end it. Don't lose your money, guys.
Yeah. Let's play it safe here.
Cool.
All right, everybody.
All right. Catch you guys later.
See you guys.